which brings us to Texas. And I'm going to take your calls. Now, President Trump tweeted out yesterday that he is considering an endorsement of a Texas senator in the runoff. But in order to do that, the other person would have to drop out. Okay. If an endorsement comes, it's certainly not going to be for Ken Paxton. La Savita and his team is working with Cornyn trying to get a deal done. Now, John in Monmouth County called me yesterday, John in New Jersey, with a great idea. Yeah, if you want to back Cornyn, then that should be tied to getting rid of the 60-vote filibuster rule. It's a good idea. I would assume those are some of the talks. But if Trump doesn't get involved, Paxton wins in a landslide. Now, why don't they want Paxton to win? They're petrified of Tallarico. They're also looking at the fact that the Democrats in the primary got more of their voters out than Republicans by about 100,000. That's never happened. So Democrats are energized there, and Tallarico is a good candidate. He's very disciplined. He's good. He's going to position himself as a moderate. He's not, but it doesn't matter. He'll do the Spanberger dance. The Democrats couldn't win with Crockett. Crockett lost and then broke down in tears and cried. Boo-hoo. Sorry you lost. Good riddance. But there's where we are right now. Now, what they don't want is a long, drawn-out 2.5 month, because I think the runoff is May 26th, 2.5 month runoff where Cornyn spends $50 million on negative ads against Paxton, basically destroying him, and Paxton still wins. And then the guy's tarnished and he can't win, and we lose the seat. That's what they don't want. This is just reality. I went through this in Pennsylvania in 22 when Jeff Rowe and Dave McCormick dropped $40 million in negative ads on Dr. Oz's head, and we got out of that thing with an 800 vote victory. We got out of it. We were the nominee in June and in May, and guess what? Oz couldn't recover. They had to find him with our own money. They ensured his defeat. They had already defined him. We couldn't fight back, could not raise that kind of money. So there you have it. And Fetterman wins. Didn't turn out as bad as we thought it would be, because Fetterman's not as bad as we thought it would be, but absent of that, Oz wins. Now, you want to fight me on ranked choice voting for Republican primaries? You want to continue to do that? Patty Lyman and everybody else, tell me about Alaska and ranked choice voting. If there was ranked choice voting in Texas, here's what happens. Paxton is the nominee. There is no runoff. This is why I keep telling you ranked choice voting favors the MAGA candidate, because now in these races, more MAGA candidates are in the race than establishment whose ranks are dwindling. I am always a year, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 ahead of everybody else. I am so far ahead, it's scary. And this is why I'm a proponent of ranked choice voting in primaries for Republicans. Everybody wants to go back and look at Alaska and Sarah Palin. Nobody wanted Sarah Palin, right? Her approval rating in Alaska was underwater. That's why she lost. People say, ranked choice voting ensures the establishment candidate wins. No, it's the exact opposite. Because there's now more MAGA candidates running in these races than establishment because we outnumber them. And I saw this 5 years ago. I mean, what is up with you got to look at the future. You can't look at today and draw conclusions for tomorrow. You've got to have the vision to see what is coming down the pike. And the Texas example is the most passionate, real, fact example I could possibly have for allowing ranked choice voting in Republican primaries. This race would be over. Paxton would be the nominee, and that would be it. It would be Paxton and Tallarico. Now we got to deal with this runoff. And they don't have one. And so the president's going to make a cold, calculating, transactional political decision. It is as simple as that. And he's likely to endorse Cornyn with the caveat, I would think, John, in New Jersey, with the caveat that Cornyn now goes in and gets rid of this 60-vote cloture rule, and they cut a deal with John Thune. Nobody wants Paxton because they're petrified that he's going to cost them Texas, which could cost them the Senate. So look, if I was there, would I vote for Paxton? Of course I would. Here's the problem. If they do nothing, Paxton wins. If they do nothing, LaCivita and Cornyn spend millions of dollars on negative ads against Paxton. Millions. Drains resources, and then if they lose, which they will anyway, you got a tarnished nominee. Now that is just the reality. I'm not advocating one thing or the other. I'm just giving it to you straight. I'm your Godzilla of truth and clarity. That's what you're going to get here. Chip Roy, Attorney General, is going to win that race. See ya. Okay? He's going to win. I doubt they'll weigh into that. It doesn't matter. They're concerned about control of the Senate. That's what they're concerned about. So that's where they are, folks, right now. And they're in a very dangerous, very precarious position. And John Thune and the Republican Senate committee and those that are trying to maintain control are absolutely petrified of a Paxton nominee because they think he will lose to Terralico. And that is not far-fetched when you look at the fact that Democrats turned out more voters in a primary than Republicans did in Texas. So that is not a far-fetched position to take. I'm not advocating one or the other. Just giving you the political calculation that is going on right now in the White House political office in Texas. And LaCivita is right in the middle of it. And so he's very trusted. He got President Trump elected. We all know that. It was a masterful job. And so he's with Cornyn. The best thing they can do is cut a deal that they get rid of the cloture rule, and then we got something. And then if they do that, they got to get Paxton to drop out. They have to. Otherwise, you're wasting resources. And this runoff, if this was 3 weeks, that would be fine. If this runoff was March 26th, the pressure would be off. It's May 20th. It's sick. It's, what was it? March, April, 2.5 months. You're going to have 2.5 months of negative ads fighting, millions of dollars wasted in this runoff. That's what everybody has to consider here. I mean, are the countries hanging by a thread? Everything is hanging by a thread. We got without Massey, a 1-vote majority in the House. Everything is touch and go. Democrats are motivated. You saw it again in Texas. They're getting out. They're motivated. They want change. They want Trump out. They hate him. Half the country hates him. TDS. It is what it is. And so these are a motivated bunch. No doubt about it. They're a motivated bunch. And so, we got to make the right decision. And I'm not saying backing Cornyn is or it isn't. I'm just telling you where the White House is at right now. And this is not an easy thing they're going to have to do. And so Trump teased it yesterday. Hey, I'm thinking about making an endorsement. The other person would have to drop out. Okay, so I'm Ken Paxton. You come to me. Ken, I'm thinking about endorsing Cornyn, but if I do that, you have to drop out. Well, why would I do that? What's the purpose of that? Because, I'm going to win. And then the problem they have, here's the other problem they have. Candidly, even with a Trump endorsement of Cornyn, if Paxton stays in the race, Paxton could still win. And I would basically predict he would. Because if you voted for Wesley Hunt, you are not voting for John Cornyn. Cornyn got 40%, 41% of the vote. Paxton and Hunt got the other 60%. So you got 42%. All the Hunt votes are going to Paxton. I mean, it's 6 of them, 2% will vote for Cornyn. So that this is all of this has to be considered. They would have to get Hunt to endorse Cornyn, which he's not going to do. They would have to get Paxton to drop out and endorse Cornyn, which is doubtful. And they're going to have to get Cornyn to, I agree with John in New Jersey, agree to get rid of the filibuster, get Thune to agree with it. All of these things are in play. Now, if that scenario plays out and we can get rid of the 60 vote cloture rule and pass the SAVE Act and get the DHS open, if we could do that and that deal is cut, then I'd be in favor of it, because that saves America. Short of that, this is just a La Vida play. Short of that. Now, what are the chances of Paxton beating Terralico if he gets a nomination with Cornyn spending $30 million in negative ads? Under 50%. Probably he's going to lose. Yesterday I told you he was going to win, but I didn't expect what's coming down the pike here. So then that calculation stays in. Then the calculation has to be made. Hey, Chris, you can't do a Jeff Rowe. Paxton wins. We got to get behind this guy. And we can't be dumping on him the way McCormick and Rowe did on us, because that doesn't work. So all of this is in play. That's my update for today. We got a great show for you. I got so many people on today. Let's see who we got on. I got to print this out. Let's see. We got, oh my goodness, we got Phil Klein. We got Tom Willis running for Senate in West Virginia. We got Ox. We got Steve Slapanic. We got Mark Mix. We got Joel Rubin. We got Scott Payton. All coming up right here. Now I'm going to go to a quick word from our sponsors. I love you guys. Thanks for dealing with me. We got Larry in Richmond coming up. The phone lines are open. Got to hear from John today, because he's the one that called me up yesterday with this brilliant idea. So 888-480-JOHN. If you got a phone and it dials out, I want to hear from you. Right now, I'm going to pour myself my first cup of 1775 coffee. And when I come back, Larry in Richmond and I are going to have our coffee together like I'm sitting in his kitchen. That is the most wonderful thing about my show. It's like you're having a cup of coffee with me. I'm sitting at your kitchen table. Larry and I are going to fire up the pot. We're ready to go. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. Truth and clarity. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. I will continue to speak boldly and plainly to you. And then I want to listen to you. So give me a call, 888-480-JOHN. We probably should change the number to 888-480-TYLER. I'll be right back.